Hello, my name is Toon Wolf, and welcome to the first episode of Tooncast, where Toon does a podcast. Hello, I am Toon Wolf. I am a wolf and snow leopard hybrid, and I am in Arizona, the beautiful sunny state, the Grand Canyon state of Arizona. And the theme of this podcast will be general furry topics and possibly news. Furry news, that is. Sorry. Today's first podcast will be about something that is near and dear to my heart, the Arizona Furry Community. So I officially joined the furry fandom in 2018, and I really wanted to go and make some friends in my local community. So I started out, I was really nervous. I wasn't sure how to jump in or what to do. My fursona developed. She was in a first phase, and she was called Tox, Tox. But then I decided to move into a more cartoony kind of fursona because cartoons really impacted my life growing up. So I came up with Toon, and I like it. So I wasn't sure how to jump into the community right away. So what I had done is I went on a furry forum and I searched how to make friends in the furry fandom. So the forum said, you do something. You have something that you like, something that you're passionate about, a hobby. Bring that. Bring that to the fandom. And at the time, I was really into reading tarot cards. So I brought that to my first furry meet. And it was perfect because I had a great icebreaker, something that I knew, something that I was comfortable with, and something that I thought was fun. So I went to this first meet and I was really nervous. As soon as I had parked my truck, I was putting on my tail and I was like, am I in the right place? I don't know. I definitely saw someone in a fursuit walk inside, so I knew I was in the right place. However, I had a fleeting moment where I was like, I could leave right now and no one would know and I wouldn't embarrass myself and I could just go home and be safe there. But I said to myself, I gotta be brave. So I went in with my tail, and the first challenge was walking through all the normies and being like, oh, I have a tail on. Oh my goodness, I've never done this in public before. I hope I don't get bullied or laughed at. But it was fine. I made my way to the back of the room, and that's where all the furries were. And I paid my $2, and I got to join the meet, and it was really fun. So I ended up parking myself at one bench the whole night. The whole night I was there. But I brought my tarot cards. And there were some furries who passed back and forth, but they came to sit down next to me. And I started talking to them. And I asked them if they wanted a tarot reading. And they said yes. And I gave them a tarot reading, and they loved it. And that's how I met my first friends in the furry fandom. The moment I stepped into that fur meet, all the furries that I met were so nice to me. I had the greatest experience. I sat down next to a fox who was drawing and he was selling his stickers. And he was one of the first people I met in the fandom, and he's still my friend today in 2022. The AC Furs kept telling me how much of a furry mecca Arizona was. And from what I understood, that meant there are a lot of furries in Arizona and that a lot of furries generally flock here. So I've spent the past 4 years kind of learning why that is. Why is the Arizona furry community so big? Well, here are a couple reasons. Number one, Arizona itself has a majority of its population concentrated in the capital city, which is Phoenix. There are a bunch of other cities in Arizona, beautiful places with lots of vibrant people who work hard and exist, but Phoenix holds 60% of Arizona's population. That's about 4.1 million people out of 9 million in the state of Arizona. So that's a very large city right away. The second largest city in Arizona is Tucson, and Tucson is actually just about a 2 hour road trip from Phoenix. So, in terms of commuting to cons, 2 hours isn't a huge commitment of time if you're willing to drive. Gas prices, eh. However, if it's worth it to you, people do it. When I went to my first meet, one of the friends that I made came all the way from Tucson, and they would drive 2 hours every week, every other week to come to that fur meet and be with their friends. And it was cool. If it's worth it to you, people make the commute. So the accessibility of the major cities in Arizona to the capital is a big contributing factor why the Arizona community of furries is so big and connected. Because we're so accessible to each other via the state itself. The state is mostly flat. The north is the Colorado Plateau, so a plateau is flat on top. But between the two, possibly three major cities in Arizona, the commute to the capital is about 2 hours. 3 if you're coming from the north down. So the accessibility to such a dense population that is Phoenix, Arizona, makes meeting other furries more accessible. The second major point that I touched on earlier is how Phoenix is such a densely populated city. All right, so don't get mad at me, Phoenix Furs. I know. So Phoenix, in my opinion, is made up of many smaller cities and municipals such as Chandler, Gilbert, Ahwatukee, Scottsdale, Glendale, Peoria, Sun City, Tolleson, Anthem. All of these places I would refer to as Greater Phoenix. So they're all cities. Yes, everyone is a city, but the cities are so close together that it's hard to tell when the city lines change, except there are signs that say, you're now in Glendale, you're now in Peoria. So you know. However, all the streets are close together, and it feels like one very large city. If you are trying to cross over from the most northwest part of Phoenix to get to the most southeast part of Phoenix, it does take about an hour to get through all the way to the edge of the city. Probably an hour and 20 or 30. So about an hour and a half to cross all the way through the city, which is funny considering that the commute from Phoenix to Tucson is 2 hours. Funny enough. So, because Phoenix is so densely populated, furries are more accessible to each other. It's worth it to drive from Northeast Phoenix to Southeast Phoenix to go to a furry bowling meet and meet different furs from a different part of Phoenix. And it's pretty easy. Furthermore, the city of Phoenix itself is more centrally located in the whole state of Arizona. It's a little south central. From the top of the state of Arizona, it's about 4 hours to get to the capital. And from the bottom of Arizona, it takes about 2-3 hours to get to the central of Arizona. So it's more or less equal. So it's more centrally located and therefore very accessible. The third major reason that the Arizona furry community is so big is actually due to several bigger furry businesses being located here. There are a couple of major fursuit makers who have been rather popular for several years, being that they were some of the first fursuits that really publicized themselves on the internet, coming from or residing in Arizona. Several major fursuit makers such as Sky Pro Costumes, Don't Hug Cacti, Thunderhouse Studios, Heads and Tails Studios, Hyena Agenda, Nomad Complex, which are furry clothing companies. They reside in Arizona, along with many other talented producers in the furry community. Producers of media, products, fursuits, charms. I gotta tell you, I was at AZFC a couple weeks ago, and there was a lot of talent in the dealer's den. So many beautiful shirts, rugs, fursuits, keychains, artists, drawings, fursuit parts. It was full of talent. What can I say? The Arizona community is so vibrant and talented, and I'm proud of you all. Mwah. Chef's kiss. With so many popular fursuiters and fursuit businesses residing here in Arizona, lots of people want to come out here to be close to them. They want to see those popular fursuits come out to meets and events and get a glimpse of these cool and cute suits and possibly talk to people and have a great time. And the people who are producing media content that look like so much fun, everyone wants to be a part of the fun. So we all go out and we want to participate. There are a lot of amazing things about the Arizona furry community aside from bigger furries or popular furries residing here. One really amazing thing about our community is truthfully the Arizona attitude that we all as Arizonans just kind of have or cultivate when people move here. There are a lot of transplants that live in Arizona. I would describe the general statewide attitude of Arizona to be friendly, polite, and cool. We're a southern state that is more to the west, the southwest. We have a conservative nature here with adaptability to progress, which is how you survive in the desert. You always know that the heat is coming and that it will blaze, but it could rain and monsoon and flood the roads in 20 minutes. So if you don't kick up your ponies and hustle to safety, you're in trouble. Gotta be ready at a moment's notice to change directions. That's called adaptability. A general feeling I get when I talk to people in public, like the cashiers at the stores, is people are just generally friendly. And if you extend kindness to them, they're really likely to extend it back to you. And if they're not having a good day, they'll just let you go on your way quite usually. We all agree here that our worst enemy is the sun and the heat, and that we all love the winter months that come. We're all united with the weather here. And I feel like I've seen the furry community reflect that too. If you're nice to people here, they're generally very nice to you as well. A friendly nature really makes you trust people more. Now, not everyone is trustworthy just because they're nice. Always use your gut and make sure that if you hear a little voice inside of you saying, I don't think I should do this, don't do it. However, as an example of general friendliness that I feel in the community here is I went to a recent convention and I let a stranger reach into my backpack and pull out my phone so that I could take a photo in his cowboy hat. So he let me wear his hat, and I trusted him enough to go into my backpack where my wallet was and let him pull out my phone. I felt like that was kind of a risk while it was happening. However, I trusted him to be honest and kind and not touch my wallet, which he didn't. And it was quite funny. A few moments later, when I was talking to a new person in the dealer's den, they had said that they had done the same thing with a different stranger. They let them reach into their bag where their wallet was and take out their phone for a picture. So it wasn't just me. Remember, this doesn't mean that furries won't or don't steal things from others. So you need to always exercise caution and be smart when you are in public areas. Generally, don't let strangers into your bag. I will say that COVID definitely hurt our community and broke us apart for a while. But which community didn't it hurt? Truthfully. We've had to relearn how to socialize with each other and to feel safe together again because we just didn't want to get sick. No one wants to get sick. And it would feel pretty awful to be the person to give others COVID. So it's kind of felt bad to not be around our friends. It feels like only now that we're at the end of 2022 that furries and non-furries have gotten comfortable socializing in public again, which is a wonderful thing to feel, certainly. But please continue to wash your hands. If you feel sick or you are sick, please stay home. And don't get mad at people who are still wearing their masks at big gatherings. Overall, the Arizona Furry Community has been a very welcoming place since I have joined in 2018. And for every fur who's wanting a great furry community, all you gotta do is just be the type of community that you want to have. Be kind, be open, meet people, make friends, and be respectful. Respect is so important for our community because when we're respectful to the places that we are allowed to fursuit, we are allowed to come back. And when we are respectful to new furries that we meet, they want to talk to us again. And on that note, thanks for tuning in to this cast, Tooncast. Have a great night.